Hi and welcome to another video. So what can we expect in this year's spring budget? We are now just over a week away and there's a lot of speculation flying around as ever on just how is the Chancellor planning to tackle the prospects of the UK economy opening up again, and at the same time clawing back some of the billions of pounds that have been spent over the past 12 months, all of which was unplanned spending and not in any budget. And how specifically will this affect us as individuals and property investors? Poor old Rishi Sunak. I do not envy that guy at all right now. He has a hell of a challenge ahead of him on March the 3rd. Imagine having to attempt to deal with an economy that is now more than £2 trillion in debt. However, as we get closer to the big day and more informed opinion emerges on the content of what will be in the budget, it's starting to look a lot like there's an attitude of, because the current debt is so understandably huge, that a little extra spending and debt in the short term would be quite an acceptable thing. It would appear the Chancellor isn't asking us to repay our debts just yet. I'm sure a lot of us have been dreading the day that we have to start paying back all the assistance that we've received in the past 12 months. However, it seems our fears can be put on hold just a little bit longer. Of course, the Chancellor cannot and will not please everyone. He needs to support businesses so they can continue to offer employment, especially those reopening after months of lockdown that initially will be operating at a reduced capacity. These businesses that are typically in retail and hospitality do appear to be at the forefront of the Chancellor's plans. Mr. Sunak must believe that there is huge pent-up demand and relative wealth in UK households, and he's looking to tap into that. If these businesses can keep their lights on during this opening up phase, then maybe the hope is that we can effectively spend our way out of this. VAT receipts alone will predictably see a surge in the coming months. It's quite evident that this is becoming a budget of stimulating consumer confidence to get us all back out spending with some confidence that jobs are safe. Let's now take a look at some of the specifics. The Furlough Job Retention Scheme. Now, it's almost certain that this will be extended. It's due to end at the end of April. However, we all saw Boris Johnson's roadmap to recovery update on the 22nd of February, and he did assure us all that the government would not just pull out the rug and would continue to offer whatever support was necessary. So an extension to the scheme is almost certain. A sensible extension would probably be for about 8 weeks through to the end of June, and there may be a slow phasing out through to September, by which time the economy should be feeling the effects of a summer rebound, and we should all have a clearer idea of exactly how many jobs have become redundant based on returning demand. Rumours are also circulating that Rishi Sunak will address the injustice felt by a lot of self-employed people who simply haven't qualified for any assistance during the last 12 months. This will be a welcome boost for individuals as the economy starts to open up again, and should have longer term gains for the wider economy if these small business owners can be encouraged to push on and continue with their entrepreneurial ways. Now, what for stamp duty? Well, again, the certainty of an extension to the stamp duty holiday grows stronger by the day. There are currently believed to be 100,000 homeowners stuck in a stamp duty holiday backlog, all desperate to complete their purchase before the end of March deadline. Without an extension at this rate, there will be a lot of disappointed people, and certainly a lot of sales will fall through for those who haven't budgeted paying the additional stamp duty. This could have very damaging implications for the wider housing market. This and the prospect of growing unemployment could be all it takes to trigger a significant downturn in the housing market. It is reported that 75% of multi-property landlords that are currently taking advantage of the stamp duty holiday to expand their portfolio would in fact pull out of sales altogether should they not be able to complete in time. I therefore think we need to see at least a 6-week extension to the stamp duty holiday, maybe just for people who have at least a mortgage offer in place, or maybe even have exchange contracts. Now for corporation tax. There's a lot of chatter surrounding corporation tax, and there has been for quite some time. Rumours are that an increase of up to 24% could be seen. However, post-Brexit, I'm sure the government had every intention of keeping corporation tax low in order to attract overseas investment. I don't see that changing during this budget. And considering the fact that pre-global pandemic, the UK was in line for seeing corporation tax rates drop to 17%. Therefore, maybe the Chancellor will feel that businesses are already feeling enough of a squeeze. The reintroduction of a tiered system raises its head from time to time, where big, highly profitable businesses pay a higher rate of corporation tax. However, this system is flawed due to the fact that those types of businesses are already structured in such a way that they pay very little UK corporation tax. It's generally the small to medium-sized businesses that make up the bulk of the corporation tax received by the Treasury. A rise now would be stifling at a time where the economy is on its knees and begging for business owners and entrepreneurs to invest and generate activity in the economy. I'd be very surprised if we saw an increase. Capital gains tax. Some are calling for capital gains tax to be brought in line with income tax. But right now, this is another area that really should be left well alone. Business owners investing capital in business right now that will help stimulate and grow the economy, they need to know that there will be some reward for taking the risks of operating a small business above and beyond that of earning a regular income. Messing with capital gains tax right now would see business owners shift their focus from growth and economic wealth generation to personal wealth preservation and methods of structuring themselves to mitigate their tax exposure. Business rates relief. This feels like another certainty to see an extension. Now that we have a roadmap out of lockdown, businesses can see the light at the end of the tunnel for when they will be up and running again. An extension through to June, if all goes to plan, would see most businesses open and up and running again, back to some sort of normality and actually in a position to pay their business rates. The whole business rates reform has been debated for a long time now, and there's no doubt that changes are needed, especially in light of the surge in online activity throughout lockdown and the seemingly unfair advantage that anyone has that's structured for online. I think the Chancellor has enough on his plate right now. He will extend the business rates relief, but will fundamentally leave the structure well alone. An online sales tax will possibly be introduced at the same time as reform to the entire system. Income tax, national insurance and VAT. Any increase here is most unlikely of all the measures the Chancellor will be playing with. After all, the Tory manifesto did promise a triple lock on all these aspects of the tax system. Opposition parties would have an absolute field day if any changes were made now. There will, however, most likely be an extension to the VAT cut for the hospitality sector. Everyone is calling for it, and the Chancellor will want to be seen to be supporting the sector that props up such a large proportion of the UK economy. Pension tax relief. Now, there is some argument for a cut to pension tax relief in order to boost income tax receipts, especially in higher rate taxpayers. Maybe if individuals are discouraged from taking advantage of lower tax rate on pension contributions, they would be more prone to taking additional income, paying tax on that income, and effectively resulting in the Chancellor bolstering the Treasurer's income in the immediate term. However, any changes to pension tax relief are unlikely to happen with immediate effect, as people do need time to plan for such changes. The High Street. It was quite interesting during the Prime Minister's Roadmap to Recovery update and how he specifically touched on UK high streets and city centres returning to some sort of pre-pandemic normality. He expects to see them alive and buzzing again and is quite sceptical about a surge in residential springing up. I'm not sure I agree. The high street and city centres have been in decline for many years now, and at the very least need to see the change of use to some of the spaces encouraged and promoted. Remove as much red tape as possible and allow these spaces to supply actual demand. Therefore, good residential use seems a bit of a no-brainer, and then let businesses return or grow to supply this new demand. Now, what about hikes to some of the duties? With such strong focus on green initiatives at the moment, a hike to fuel duty has never been so easy for a government to justify. And with just having had a decade of freezers, maybe now is the time for something like a 5p hike. However, if stimulus is the focus right now, then any hike on fuel duty would have a dampening effect on that. And what about duty on alcohol? Well, it's been such a long time since anybody bought a drink from a pub. Does anyone actually remember how much they used to cost? And with so much pent-up demand, will anyone really care? With the way us Brits like a drink, alcohol duty alone could balance the books for the Chancellor. A stealth tax increase slid in during lockdown. But in all seriousness, probably just an inflationary rise here. So all in all, it appears this budget won't be the doom and gloom we all thought it could be. The Chancellor's possibly saving that for the autumn. However, we can't be under any illusion that there is more than £2 trillion worth of debt to repay at some point. The government will need some of it back in order to invest in some of the regular stuff that they normally spend our money on. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you could like and subscribe, that would be much appreciated, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Thank you.